Hi, and welcome to another episode of DAWNCast. My name is Kathy Ngo.
And I'm Di Lee.
And today we have Fernando Motti joining us. Fernando is the director at Motti+Smith Events, who creates premium hospitality experiences for clients such as Sydney Festival, Sydney Writers Festival, Groovin to the Moo. This is a really long list. And Vivid. Fernando has also been working as catering and sustainability manager for Sydney Festival for the last 10 years. Welcome, Fernando, to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for accepting.
Yes, thanks for joining us. How's it going so far with the whole, coronavirus situation and with the event space?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. It's been really hard, of course. We pretty much lost our business overnight, as a lot of different event companies as well. So I remember that I think it was Friday, March the 13th. The Prime Minister first announced that events wouldn't be able to happen again. And I think the change was coming on Monday. But that morning, I had 5 food trucks booked to do an event for Cricket Australia at the STG. And I get the call at 7:30 in the morning, and they were telling me that the event was going to be cancelled.
Wow.
So that was the first news that we received that really, shaked up everything. And then we managed to do our last event that weekend, which was in the Hunter Valley, it's called Wine Machine. So that was the last event that we did. And then after that, then no more events. So all our clients canceled all their events and everything, including, Vivid and Groovin, which is a touring music festival that usually happens in April and May.
Right.
So that was for us. It was a really tough time when we first received the news. Yeah.
So Friday the 13th, you got the news. All
Friday
events.
the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what were you supposed? What was your involvement? Like, what was your business? What was it looking after?
So our business, we look after food and beverage and sponsorship for events. So for a lot of events that we do, we contract food trucks and catering companies to provide the services for the event, either for public catering or for artist catering, for example. So, and we also do a lot of, we secure sponsorship for events as well as we work in creating activations for events such as Vivid and for clients such as Lend-Lease and Darling Square, that we've been helping them to just create experiences for people who come to that space, it's been really successful. But unfortunately, now we don't know how and when we're going to come back, which is pretty scary. But I think there is a lot to take from that, and we've been working on different things now. So yeah.
So what have you been doing the last 2 months? Oh, from the Friday the 13th. How have you pivoted, or have you pivoted?
Yeah, because there's a lot of virtual events now, and I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on virtual events, but it seems as though it's happening everywhere that we say. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And also, of course, to your original question, what have you been up to as well?
So we've been since that we talked a lot about all the opportunities and talk about also virtual events and what could we be doing during this time, right? Because one thing that we know and one thing that we're very hopeful is that events will come back. And with the easing of the restrictions, hopefully we'll be seeing events back hopefully in October or the beginning of the year, right? So we've been very hopeful all this time. And I think it's a time where all the different business in the industry are sticking together, and that's really great to see, right? So for us, it gave us a lot of hope, and we're talking to a lot of clients that they no, we're booking our events, we're postponing our events for October, for September, or for early next year. So there is a lot of hope there. So we're working on creating now plans on how to manage these events with social distancing and with with which I call controlled environments, right? So that's the idea. I think it's now for us to put those plans together and look in the future and go, we'll be able to do events, hopefully, and how we're going to manage those events and social distance at these events. So I think the moment we've been just working on this, right, and trying to come up with alternatives. We also had another business which we started about a year and a half ago, and now gave us the opportunity to really focus on this business, because we were so busy with events and everything else that now we actually have time to focus on this second business of ours, which is a brewery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at us both getting so excited.
Yeah.
So,
Not that I drink beer. I don't drink, but I just thought the interesting part that you're setting up a brewery business.
So
is it a craft beer or what is it?
Yeah, so it's a craft beer. We've got 5 different flavors at the moment, and it's been really good to work in a different environment and to try to create awareness of our business, of our brand. And our brand it's all about music and beer and music, right? So it's been really interesting to get the word out there and increase our distribution through the country and just work on something different, which we didn't have really much time before to do.
What's
and
it
it
called?
might actually become our main source of income in the future.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Has it been officially launched yet, or is it still in that kind of testing phase?
No, it has. It's called Cattleyard Brewing Co.
Okay. Cattleyard, is it?
Cattleyard or yard?
Yeah, yard.
Yard. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Cattleyard.
Congrats.
And so it's been really good. So it's been very interesting to suddenly just have that time to focus on something else, which I think a lot of people are doing, is trying to find that other passion of yours and really focusing your time on something else.
That's true. That's exactly. That's exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah. We are focusing on vodcasting, as we'd called it. Previously to that, we were more focusing on leadership development, training, workshops. Now we're focusing mainly on this, so like what you're doing. But so beer and music, or craft beer and music, why do you combine? Like,
it makes sense though. Like you're gonna groove into the music.
Is it? But music. What kind of?
Very interesting. He said, get in the groove.
Yeah.
So we started the business with the promoters for Groovin, which is this touring festival in Australia.
Right.
So we became partners about a year and a half ago to create the beer. So the beer was basically first for us to sell at the festival. So that's the whole link with the music industry, right? So from that, then we thought that our beer it is about people being together, people being to share experiences, share music, share the love for music, and especially at this time, it's for us a platform for us also to help and promote Australian artists. So we've been asking for a lot of different Australian artists to share. We've got a playlist on Spotify, which is our Cattleyard Brewing Co playlist.
Okay.
So, and we're asking artists to create playlists for us, for just playlists
to drink
with whatever they're listening to at the moment.
Yep.
And then we share into our socials, which has been really interesting. So that's the connection with music. And for us, we love events, we love music, we love beer.
Do you think that the event space, even though from the 1st of June, restaurants, pubs and are allowed to seat, people can gather up to about 50 people, would it make it easier for events to bring people together, or do you think there'll be lots of challenges in terms of the social distancing rules still in place?
I think there'll be a lot of challenges. I think for pubs, restaurants, small business like that, you see that, I don't know, I've been talking to a lot of friends that they are not ready to go to a restaurant, even though they will be able to from the 1st of June, right? So I think if you look at events in the future, you will definitely have part of the population that won't be ready to do that. So I think that's one challenge for us. That's one of the biggest challenge for us. It's how you provide that safe environment so people will be comfortable to come to events. But there's a lot of friends as well that they cannot wait to be out.
I can't wait. Kathy and I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think how the government is doing is very important, because you are doing in a small, steady way. So we saw with 10 people, the restaurants were trying to adapt, and I think they did a really good job by doing that. A lot of business doing that. I know it's hard, and sometimes it's not worthwhile just opening for 10 people,
Yeah.
even though you can put maybe 2 or 3 settings at night,
Yeah.
or or during the day. But I think now with 50, maybe we'll provide that opportunity to a lot of business to start getting back into making, in having a proper income and making money. And now, of course, with JobKeeper, I think a lot of them manage to keep their employees on, which is really good.
So other than the health and safety of... sorry, what was that?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
You're welcome.
So other than the health and safety of people who are going to these events and social distancing, what other things do event organisers and people like yourself need to be aware of as well? Like, what's the kind of post-COVID event trend that you see?
Well, I think it'll be, of course, event organizers will have to look at external factors and see what's happening in the world. Being chat, a lot of event organizers already chatting to government and local councils to see what will be possible. I think it's still a little bit early for us to know what's going to happen and how this is going to happen. But I think a lot of companies, as I said before, are putting plans in place so we can have a discussion around guidelines and if it's going to be possible. It is similar to, it's not the same thing, but it's similar to, for example, the management of alcohol at events, or health and safety, or food safety, and other guidelines, where event organizers, they put forward their guidelines and how they're going to, manage those events based on that. And then, of course, together with emergency services and New South Wales Police and the government, we all come to an agreement on how this will be best managed. So I think it's a long process. We're still a while away from having events, but hopefully we'll be able to find a way, because we need events, right? And we have so many people out of jobs.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Because, I mean, events such as Vivid, Sydney Festival, a Sydney Writers Festival, I mean, that's, you're talking about thousands of people gathering.
Yes.
And that's now, I mean, it must have, like, what was going through your mind on the 13th, Friday the 13th, when those events were cancelled? Like, how did you process that in terms of, obviously, that's your bread and butter, passion with bread and butter, your core business.
With beer.
I think the first thing you think beer. Is...
with beer, with your new beer.
Well,
lots of beer.
At least I had beer in the fridge.
Yeah.
No, but I think the first reaction was, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to go and find a job, right? Or how this is going to work? Because we knew we were very lucky, because we worked with amazing clients that, paid us cancellation fees and postpone events and things like that. But a lot of business don't have that, or didn't have that luxury, right? So for us, we were like, okay, we've got so many months that we still have a cash flow to stay afloat, and what happens after that? So when the JobKeeper got announced, we were like, okay, so at least we can keep paying ourselves, right? It's just me, my business partner. And we usually work with contractors, right? So we don't have a lot of staff. It's just the two of us. So we didn't have that pressure, which is really good for our business. But can you imagine business with 50 staff
Employees,
or
yeah.
20
Yeah,
staff or
absolutely. Yeah, in hospitality.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the scary moment when you just look at it and go, wow, what's going to happen? Are we not going to have 3 months ago? I was joking with my business partner, say, oh, we work in events, we're always going to have events, whatever happens, right?
Yes.
And then suddenly
Wow.
we don't have any more events.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough, but I think it's the time where again is the hope and how you pivot from this situation, how you look at your business and say, what can I do, and focus on what you can do, and try to come up with a solution, or a new idea, or just being hopeful that and just I think it's waking up in the morning and saying, okay, that's not gonna
Work today. We have to try something else.
So I have to find something else. I need to do something, and I need to, even if it's just developing new skills, or actually talking to other people in the business and say, how can I help? And what are you doing? How can I do the same? Because people are really now sharing experiences, and people are willing to work together. I think one of the main things that will happen is that we'll see a lot more of the shared economy now, right? Where business will start sharing resources.
Collaborate.
I know of some business. Yeah, I know of some business that are already sharing, delivering services, or sharing things like that, right? So I think it's really good. So I think it, in a way, will put a lot of business in the sector in the same playing field, which is really good.
So are you going to barter your beer for another service? Like fried chicken or something?
Maybe.
Because it complements each other. Fried chicken, beer, music.
Exactly.
But even with beer, though, I mean, you would need a gathering of, normally, you go down the pub for a beer. Now, again, so how are you going to overcome that challenge as well in terms of the gathering of people to have a beer with music?
That was very interesting, because we decided to invest a little bit more on an online shop. So our brew is based in Newcastle. So we're thinking, how we're going to deliver beer to people in Newcastle, right? Because the pubs are closed. So all our clients now are not selling beer, right? So we open a store online. We've got our sales and marketing guy there, that he lives in Newcastle. So we invested in a small car, and now he's doing deliveries.
Right.
In
That's
Newcastle,
so cool.
which is really good. And then a friend of ours, Michael Watson, he owns a company called Watson Events, and he used to do bar management for big events. So he had an idea of creating a delivery service for alcohol, right, in Sydney. So it's called Boozy, and he started delivering alcohol. They deliver cold within an hour to Sydney Metro, and then we asked Michael, can you also stock our beer and start delivering, right? So, and that's how I say all this. Suddenly, we've got all these different businesses coming together to create something new, and stay. And I think the most important thing is try to stay relevant during this time, and try to build that customer base, because I think will be really important when you come out on the other side, right? That you have that connection with community, that you have connection with the business that you usually work with. So yeah, so that's how we're doing, and it's not easy. And the beer is very new, so we're trying to increase distribution and everything, but step by step, we'll get there.
So who's your competition? Who are you competing against? I mean, the beer market in Australia is quite
heaps. Like Young Henry's.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge, but it's very interesting. Again, I don't think there is. We're not competing to anyone. I think we are we are not a brand of beer in Australia that is trying to offer something different. And like we look at friends from other beer companies that are doing amazing and that we know them very well, and we exchange experiences and everything, and that's very important. Um, and because we do sponsorship for events as well, we've been working with a lot of beer companies that usually sponsor our events. So we have the connection with them as well. So, and when we started the beer, we started working with the guys from Cattleyard Brewing in Canberra. So they helped us a lot in the beginning. So we were brewing the beer through them. So there is that sense of the craft beer industry in Australia being a very cohesive and supportive,
It's interesting.
which I think it's very good. I think
It's a new world
I think
for
there
us.
is yeah, there is space for everyone, and I think it's a growing industry, especially now that everyone is drinking.
What's craft beer? I mean, do you drink beer?
Not much, not at all. But yeah, I've never actually. That's a good question because I've never really understood. Like I always think it's
A beer is a beer, isn't it?
It's like hipster beer.
Yeah. So what's a craft beer to a normal beer?
So a craft beer, well,
And they're both
craft
alcohol
beer-
content, got alcohol content, haven't they?
Yeah.
Pardon my
Yeah.
ignorance.
Well, craft beer is I think the name already tells it's not produced in large scale, and it's also it's craft, right? We've got different breweries creating small recipes in small batches, right, and trying different flavors. And usually there's a lot of people that make beer at home, and then from those
Is it legal?
recipes, then sorry.
Is it legal to make beer at home?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we should
As
do
long as
something.
it's not for
Commercial purposes.
for commercial purpose, you can easily find a small brewing kit online and buy and try make beer.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And so when you talk about flavors, do they like different fruit flavor, or what do you mean by?
Yeah, fruit flavors or
In beer,
it's very
right.
interesting. Or people try different things. You see,
We have to try. We have to try
I-
this, Kathy. We
I
have to
know
probably
what
have
you're gonna
something.
You're gonna put chili in
think
it,
you
aren't
should
you?
Yeah, put chili in.
I'm gonna send you a few samples. You can try a little bit and let me know what you think.
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea.
Have a sampling session.
Yeah, but so I mean, then how do you? I mean, as you just mentioned, it's you create smaller batches, but then the economies of scale, like, then how do you make money? Like the cost of then producing that.
It's art.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it's art.
there's no
It's
money in art.
But it's pure passion and joy.
No, it is a big challenge because of course, so we don't have a proper brewery set up because of course
Cost
is expensive, right?
Yep.
But we are looking now at a new space. So hopefully in not too long we'll have a brewery. But so what we do at the moment is we do what a lot of other people do, which is we take our recipes and we take to a brewery, like an established brewery. Like now we work with the Australian brewery, and they are a very well established business. And we come with the recipe, and our brewer, he goes to the Australian brewery and say, "This is our recipe. This is how much we want produced." And then that's how we've been
Kept with the costs.
brewing our beer. Exactly. And then of course all the marketing and everything, we do everything from the label and everything. So we created a beer brand, and now for us is how from a beer brand and from a concept and a recipe you turn into a scalable business, right? So that's how now we are in this process now, which is a very challenging process, but of course because you need a lot of investment as well. So, but I think it's a very good learning process, but it will take a while until you increase enough distribution so you can start making money. But it's that's the goal.
Are you going to go back to? I mean, obviously, your event space will continue as the restrictions kind of gets lifted. You will continue to focus on building your event space again, obviously taking
Yes.
into consideration all of those changes and the new normal that we have to operate in, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely we'll continue to do events. It's our passion. We love doing events, and we are already talking to a lot of clients that they about the events. Hopefully in October, we'll be able to have events. If not, then definitely we'll be there for Sydney Festival, which they're working on an amazing Australian focused with Australian artists.
Wonderful. For 2021? For 2021?
2021 in January. So so I think, and again, will be all about the controlled environments and how you manage people in theaters and in different spaces. So I think we'll see soon theaters starting to operate, and we'll see how they're going to operate with social distancing and everything. So I think there is a lot of hope there. We're excited. I think it's a time to be excited and try to keep hope. And hopefully we'll be having a beer together at one of our events.
Absolutely.
I feel like we should have had that pre-warning and right now.
That's right. Take a beer and go. We'll just say, here you go, a block of water. Go with the beer.
We're sponsored by Cattleyard Brewing Co.
Well, we'd like to wish you great, lots of luck with and success. Great, not luck, but success and growth with Cattleyard Brewing Company.
And also your events company.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for watching.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for jumping on. Well, guys, that was Fernando, and my name is Kathy Ngo.
And I'm Dai Lee. And please remember, if you want to hear more of this type of content, subscribe. Click on the link below, the bell there. It says, subscribe.
Yep, so you get the notification.
Okay, notification and, subscribe to us and support us to grow. So see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.